Sukin is going to be playing Survival, which has found its slot basically in this comp.
Yeah, and Sukin is going to be playing that Survival spec, as you said, so it's a lot less bursty, a lot more consistent pressure. We're going to be looking to see if Tempo Storm can secure their opener. They're going to run in and pet Nova the entire team, which means they are not able to get a stab. Peekaboo opening with a cheap shot onto Fuin. The Shadow Dance comes out with the DFA, a lot of burst onto Fuin. He trinkets and pops the Survival Instincts to reduce a lot of this burst potentially, and pops his Incarnation. They're going all in YOLO mode onto Starship. Incarnation popped, Murder of Crows is up. He's going to Ironbark himself, camping out in bear form. He's going to need a lot more cooldown than Ironbark, being very greedy right now, dipping down to 30%. NS and Heart of the Wild have to come out. He's still getting destroyed. Barskin now comes out for Starship. He needs to be able to recover. Fuin getting peeled off here. Waffles caught into the polymorphs. Starship still just struggling to even hold himself above 50% health.
He does have those feral bleeds on him, and all those cooldowns make it do a lot of damage. Starship finally able to get away and get topped off, but right away, Fuin and Sukin be able to be on his back. He does have his trinket. He's used that, and he has no cooldowns left. He needs to get away. We need to see peels coming out from Peekaboo and Jamili. Jamili actually caught into a full trap right now, deciding to ice block that offensively. He's sitting in that block for a little bit. He doesn't want to open himself up as a target. The deep freeze full sheep going on to Waffles right now. Fuin could be in a lot of trouble. Does get that survival instincts up, and still just on the chase, on the prowl, on to Starship. If he can land a full stun onto him, Starship could be in a lot of trouble. The smoke bomb coming out from Peekaboo on a Fuin. The full bash on to Starship. This could be the first game. Both druids getting exceptionally low. Starship able to get away, get some heals on himself, and Fuin down to 10% HP. The Spirit Link comes in from Waffles, able to keep him up for now, and both teams going so hard in the opener.
Yeah, definitely. We can see the Spirit Link forced out from Waffles early on. There's the Murder of Crows, answered by Starship's Ironbark. He's able to get out of line of sight and keep himself completely stable for the time being. Tempo Storm, though, they have a long time before Incarnation comes up for Fuin to get some rotations going. There's no trinkets available on Solari Gaming. Looks like they're looking to set up to win. Fuin caught into the kidney shot, down at half HP. Ice Nova #1 coming out from Jamili. Ice Lance connects. Moonfire's flying through from Starship. Starship moves forward to get the clone. He gets locked out. Jamili gets trapped. Waffles needs to find a way to pick up Fuin right now. He drops the leg. He's not outside of it. Barely gets into it, but Starship secures the clone. We can see Solari Gaming rotating the pressure, trying to connect onto Starship as Starship displaces away, but Fuin is still dangerously low. Gets locked on his clone, down at 30%. Waffles has no more major cooldowns to pick him back up. Getting polyed for 1 second. Fuin is still going after him. He does not care. He knows that Waffles is going to get CC'd. It's his last chance to strike, but it's not enough. The Shadow Dance from Peekaboo and Tempo Storm are going to take game #1 over Solari Gaming, as would be expected.
Yeah, once Sukin and Fuin didn't have those trinkets available anymore, every single setup is just so dangerous. Every time he gets caught into a full stun and his healer CC'd, there's not really much he can do, but they were so close to actually landing a kill in the opener.
Oh, they were. I really liked that Fuin just went for it at the end. He knew that Waffles wasn't going to be able to get out of that CC, and what's the point of just running away if you're not going to get heals from your shaman anyway? You just might as well go for it.
Yeah, it was a bit of a risky play, but he had to make it at that point. Tempo Storm just rotated through all the cooldowns one by one. Starship was able to stay alive, clinging on by the ends of his fingertips, really, to stay alive in that game. I'm curious to see if Tempo Storm are going to make any composition swaps. I'm curious as well to see if Solari Gaming are going to put Procta in on Affliction Warlock. It might be an option for them, as I believe Tempo Storm might have won the mind game in terms of the blind pick in the first map.
So do you think the FLS would have made a difference in that matchup?
Well, I think it might have stood a little bit of a better chance if they can stay alive, because Abster's team, Follow Esports, at least in the North American regionals, were able to put on quite a good showing against Tempo Storm, and Solari Gaming kind of talked themselves up all the time, saying we're better than Follow Esports, we're the dominant FLS, the dominant jungle cleave. So I would have expected maybe that to deal with the Rogue Mage Druid composition. Now moving into the second map, it means that Solari Gaming will have to pick it. That map might kind of lead into what composition they're going to want to play. Something like Tolvaron, a big map, kind of leads towards the Warlock coming in. Whereas if they pick something like Ruins of Lordaeron or Dalaran Arena, I would expect that they're going to keep Sukin in on the Hunter and just keep the momentum rolling. If they can keep a level head, the intensity that they had in the early stages of the matches was so strong.
It really was, and I was really impressed with the Hunter play, and every time that Starship, it looked like Starship almost made the wrong decision to leave his own pillar and to try to cross, and then he got caught out in the middle of the field, and that's when he started taking that massive amount of damage and having to constantly shift into the bear form and use that stampeding roar like to get back to the pillar that he just left from the start, but the entire time the Hunter was just on his back like non-stop.
Yeah, and we do have a Windows 10 game DVR replay with Jackson, so we're going to go over and check that out.
All right, guys. So that was a pretty fast-paced first match against two of the potentially most confident teams in this tournament, Tempo Storm and Solari Gaming. We can take a quick look at this replay and break down the ending for you guys. So what we saw was pretty much a ferocious train strategy coming out of Solari Gaming. And this is a strategy that Jungle Cleave had used successfully in the past against, it was Follow Esports versus Luminosity Gaming. The difference between this is that Luminosity Gaming was playing Turbo Cleave, and they were willing to make swaps back and forth rather than just only training the Druid. So it can be done with Jungle Cleave, especially with the Hunter being survival, that frozen ammo constantly slowing the Resto Druid, and the Feral Druid pouring tons of damage in during Incarnation. Note that I mentioned during Incarnation. Watch Fuin just try his best to waddle across the map in bear form, and that is not what you need. So perhaps if they want to use that Resto Druid training strategy, they might want to swap it up in between Incarnation. But I do want to mention another thing about Tempo Storm's confidence. They know that their Druid is susceptible to training, and even before the game, they're like, just go bear form, you'll never die. So there's a lot of confidence in there, both as a team, but in their teammates individually, and Starship did show that he could survive that. Whether or not he'll be able to do it the second round, we're about to find out. Let's throw it back to the casters.
All right, thank you very much, Jackson. Again, just go bear form.
Yeah.
That was the strat of choice during that game, and Starship was able to survive during that. It was great.
It's really scary for a Resto Druid, because even though you get away and you're able to kite, you're still loaded up with Survival Hunter dots as well as Feral dots, and those things are no joke. Those bleeds are really, really scary. So even if you get away, you have full hots on yourself, you cast like 3 or 4 regrowths, you're still like dead.
Yeah, and even still, with the momentum that Solari Gaming had, I would have liked to see Waffle play a little bit more aggressively. It's once you get in that position where all 3 players in the jungle are on top of the Resto Druid Starship, that's when they can take full command, because early on, Starship was actually playing greedy. He traded the Iron Bar for the Murder of Crows. Incarnation was actually already rolling at that point, so it was kind of risky not even using the bar skin right away to try and reduce the damage, and he could have gotten caught off guard there early on and got bursted down. So I would actually like to see the aggression out from Solari Gaming even more so than it was that game. I said they were YOLO, you only live once throughout that game, and that's really what they need to do against Tempo Storm if they want to win with that Jungle Cleave.
Yeah, and it absolutely takes an exceptional Druid to survive against a Jungle Cleave like that. I know that when I play my Resto Druid, it's a nightmare for me to survive against that, and if I somehow used my cooldowns like that, I know I would have died. So I don't know how they make it work, but it's pretty remarkable.
Great players. All right, and we do have, that is on your screen, is going to be the 2 teams, but we'll have to have a glimpse into their mind with this matchup to see what map and what comps they have selected, since we do have the draft all ready for you guys. And of course, the losing team, which was Solari Gaming, was able to pick the map that they are going to be playing on. And there you go. The Dalaran Sewers is what is going to describe the type of comp that they are going to play. So that is going to be the same matchup that we are going to see. Same factions and everything.
Exact same thing, except it's a much smaller map, and it's going to be hard for Starship to actually get away.
Yeah.
So if they can do that, if the game plays out the same way, I believe that Starship will die. He's going to have to rotate his cooldowns a little bit better. We have to see better peels coming out from Jamili and Peekaboo, but it can be difficult. I mean, if they're just spamming out their trinkets, getting spam dispelled by Waffles, and getting CC'd so much by that Survival Hunter, it's hard for them to really shut down the damage early on in the game.
Yeah, definitely. Solari Gaming, what I want to see from them is aggression non-stop the entire game. Don't pull back. You even saw last time they did a good job of it. Now they just need to finish the job. The map selection here of Dalaran Arena is going to give them a bit more of an advantage. Starship was able to escape long distances on the Grand Arena, rotating pillar to pillar, as Vihel was saying with the Stampeding Roar and Displacer Beast. Now here on Dalaran Sewers, there's a lot less places to run, and we're going to have to see if he is able to escape death here, as we are jumping into the game between Tempo Storm and Solari Gaming. Tempo Storm leading 1-0.
All right, we'll have to see if Peekaboo can land the opener that he wanted. Last time he wasn't able to, so let's see if he can make a difference this time. Starship getting out those initial hots rolling as Peekaboo and Jamili going in. And first global is going to be Icy Veins from Jamili, plus a immediate Shadow Dance. Look at this, immediate link forced out too.
They want to be aggressive. I like this from Temple Storm. They're turning around the aggression right away. Fuin actually down to 20% HP, caught into that smoke bomb, having to trinket and survival instincts. Waffles was able to get off a pre-link, or a link, sorry, in the CC, and that work Rachel is really, really good for. Starship taking a lot of damage, though, loaded up with his bar skin as well as Iron Bar, catching a huge NS. But Fuin is in a little bit of trouble. He does still have his Vigil, Incarnation, and Iron Bar, or sorry, his Berserk ready, but he has no trinket, so the next down to him is probably going to end up being Waffle's trinket.
Fuin is playing Ursul's Vortex. He tried to catch Starship off guard by pulling him back on the blink. I'm not sure if he was 100%, but that means he loses his bash. There's no consistent stun on Solari Gaming. It's going to be hard for them to lock Starship down. They have bursted through all of his defensive cooldowns. Heart of the Wild up for a few more seconds here. It's his last line of defense. Fuin is not giving up the hunt, but Waffles has no trinket. Fuin's got to be careful. He's sitting in that bear form, not line of sighting Waffles just yet. We see Waffles now pushing forward. Starship is still the primary targets. Still no defensive cooldowns. Caught into a stun, down to half HP, but Peekaboo is going to reverse the pressure. Goes for the Shadow Dance. Waffles pre-links the Deep Freeze Polymorph, and they're going to end up breaking the Polymorph there. Starship is in so much trouble right now, blinking to the opposite side of the map. Fuin is able to keep up the chase because they broke that Polymorph. Murder of Crows now coming out. Starship answers with the Iron Bark, answers with the Bark Skin. A bit of an overlap, but it's not going to mean too much. You see the Ursul's Vortex down now onto Starship. He's able to get out of it, uses the dash now to kite away. Good defensive Polymorphs out from Jamili right here to stabilize Tempo Storm.
And Waffles, that pre-link, like you were saying, actually ended up saving Fuin, which is an excellent job. Starship getting the clone onto Fuin, able to give himself a little bit more time. Jamili actually just throwing out that Ice Block once again, just using his trinket and Ice Blocks to get out of CC. This could be the setup that they need, though. The full kidney shot onto Fuin, full Polymorph onto Waffles. Fuin's going to have to do something miraculous to survive here. Down to 40% HP, actually using that Nature's Vigil, trying to get away. Starship going in for the clone, gets the full clone. This could be the game for Fuin. This looks like Tempo Storm is going to take this series 2-0. And I don't know, this North American EU thing, yeah.
Despite the smack talk, Tempo Storm are going to wipe the floor, as they said they